Tony, I'm sorry, we had to take over Life at Complex once again. It's Cal, Deputy Editor of Pop Culture. The homegirl Olga's here, but as always, it is not about us. As you can see, we have an illustrious guest here. If you're a pro wrestling fan, you know who this guy is. He's literally been everywhere. You might know him as the Ayatollah of Rock and Rolla, Lionheart. Some people call him the Painmaker these days. AEW World Champion Chris Jericho. Thank you for being here.
I've never been called, thank you very much. The crowd goes mild. I've never been called illustrious before. That made me laugh.
I cannot start this interview without talking about last night. AEW finally debuted on TNT. Talk about what that's like. What the build-up has been so crazy. What was it like to have the show?
It's funny, there's never been a company in this business that had so much of a buzz and caused so many waves before we even had a minute of national TV time. Just when the AEW started is when the whole business changed. The fans started getting more excited. Wrestling became cool again. The wrestlers started making more money, specifically because of our existence. So now that we've actually had a show under our belts, and it was a huge success, sold out Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C., 14,000 people.
Crazy.
Everyone was going nuts. Just the vibe of it was great.
Yeah.
Just to say, like, after all these months of planning and working on it, and here we are, and to see it actually come to fruition as a huge success, it was a really cool experience. And one of the main reasons why I signed with AEW was to make a difference and do something from the ground up, which I've never done, nor has anybody from my generation or the generation previous.
Before you came in, we were seeing tweets, with, talk of WWE praising you guys, for the show that was put on last night.
Well, because they're embarrassed.
I was going to ask,
No, I know how they work,
Yeah.
and the fact is I haven't seen the actual rating, but I'm assuming they know what it is, and I think we probably kicked their ass. They started this. Everything that they've done has been reactionary moves to us. We're not in a war with anybody besides ourselves. I don't care if you put, you resurrect John and George and it's the reunion of the Beatles or the Super Bowl or whatever. All that matters is our show. You can put anything you want against it. We can't compete with that. We can compete with what we're doing. So they kind of started this war, and the very first night they got destroyed. Big deal. It's our first debut. Great. But they have to come back and say, it's a marathon, not a one-night sprint. Who's ever said it's a one-night sprint? It's not a war for us. Now, we're placed in one, and we're going to kick ass because we're going to do what we do very, very well. And I think that there's a little bit of an arrogance towards us that's now gone.
Yeah.
And I was very excited to finally get that show going, get it done, and get it over with, because now all the talk, it's like hockey when you got someone yakking at you at the time. When you score 10 goals, you say when we were kids, if someone's talking shit to you, you say, well, look at the scoreboard, it's 8-0. That shuts people up in their place, and then they get mad, and then they start getting desperate. So I'm not saying anybody's desperate. I'm not saying anything at all. I'm just saying we put on a great show. We got a great number apparently, and if some people are excited, as most people are, that's great. If others are angry at us, well, we're sorry.
There you go. You win the title. The next day, word comes out that the title is missing.
Right.
You talk about creativity and being able to do more at AEW. Who was the one that came up with the idea to get in the hot tub? And
Me.
That was all you?
Everything. Yeah, it's not something that was even, I sent it to Tony Khan, my boss, to make sure he's cool with it, but literally the belt got stolen, the title got stolen. And I still don't know exactly what happened. I almost feel like it's almost like a Wicker Man situation where the whole city of Tallahassee was in on it.
Wow.
The bees, the belt, the belt. I'm not even kidding. If you had an hour, I could tell you the story and still need another hour. It's very strange.
Wow.
It's a potentially embarrassing situation.
Yeah.
So if you take control of it and own it, then you take away all of the powers.
Yeah.
And thankfully we got it back very quickly. And then right after that, this whole thing about the little bit of the bubbly, which was, I was backstage and there was a bottle of champagne and I just happened to have a little bit of the bubbly. And somebody made a video of it to a song, and then suddenly there's literally dozens to even, I'd say 100 different ones. And so everyone, the belt's great. Oh, they found the belt. Let's talk more about this little bit of the bubbly thing.
Yes.
And that becomes the next viral sensation. So you just never know where it's going to take you.
Well, how does it work? So, we've got, an image of you here in your current iteration with the jacket.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. Talk about, you evolve a lot. It seems like every cycle you've got another character, another thing going on. Can you talk about, the inspiration behind this, and then later talk about how the Judas effect elbow plays into that, and where you came up with, having that being your finisher now.
Well, I always wanted to evolve and expand my character. I always took a lot of inspiration from David Bowie in the fact that he was always a different look, played different characters, but always had a little bit of a different sound, but it was still Bowie. And I love that. The Beatles did it too, but Bowie with the character, the looks, Aladdin Sane and Ziggy Stardust and all these different guys that he had. So I never wanted to be a nostalgia act. I think there was a point in time in the 2000s when I really felt that, so I just jettisoned everything in 2008 when I killed the countdown. No more Y2J. I told the announcers, don't ever call me Y2J again. I switched from long pants to tights, and then suits and ties and big words and a different way of speaking. Because I find it's almost like when Kiss took the makeup off in '83, that was telling the world this is a different band. You have to show people that you're thinking differently. You can't just wear the same outfit and say, I'm a good guy now, I'm a bad guy now, I'm a psycho, or I'm a crybaby, or whatever. So that was where I really started looking. Every time I have an idea, I'm really gonna go with it. And especially over the last few years. So yeah, this iteration now just came from when I was in Japan, and I was much more of a brutal type of a fighter right before I came to AEW, and I felt a little bit more psycho. So I became the Painmaker, which has some paint very subtly, more of an Alice Cooper Clockwork Orange thing. The hat was more of a Jack the Ripper thing because I felt that way. So it all kind of felt what I was wanting to get across. And that translates to the audience. The same with my career, whether I'm going off with Fozzy or writing another book or doing the Chris Jericho Rock and Wrestling Rager cruise that I've been doing. It's keeping people excited about who I am as a performer, because they never know what's coming next, but they know it's going to be fun. It's almost people live vicariously through me at this point, and that's my responsibility. Like if people are having a bad day and Jericho does something cool, it's like, you know what, I can't wait to do this or see this or listen to this. I feel it's kind of my job at this point to make the people who follow my career and enjoy what I do consistently guessing, like, oh my gosh, I never saw that coming, but this is great. And the Judas elbow came from that. I was doing a lot of MMA training, not where I was going to be an MMA fighter, but just the workout and the exercise, and that was just one of the things that we did. And I said, that could be a finisher, like where you don't have to lift anybody up, nobody has to take a bump on the back of their head, and there are some people that would be like, oh, that's a stupid finish. I'm like, come over here, let me give you an elbow to the face.
Yeah.
And see what you think. You know, it's a lot more devastating than a people's elbow. And when you can get it over as a serious thing, then people will believe it and take it at face value. So if all I ever do is win every match with it, then suddenly it becomes a legit finisher. So all that stuff adds into completely evolving and moving forward.
You're doing acting, you talked about the cruise earlier. Do you ever think about when you're going to hang up the wrestling boots?
No, because like I said, when I left the WWE in 2017, when Fozzy's Judas record started taking off, we had 3 top 10 singles from it. We toured like 22 countries and did shows with Shinedown and Nickelback and Slash, and it was a great tour. And then this Japan thing came up, and then it led me back into wrestling again. Still not full time, but much more regularly. But as long as I can continue to perform at a high level, there's no reason to hang them up, because it's fun. Fozzy's still the priority. We're still working hard on that. We just had our 5th consecutive top 30 Billboard single right now. Thank you. But it's still fun to be a part of AEW. So I have another 2 years left on my contract, and once again, you can't teach experience, and as long as I don't explode into a puff of dust one day, there's no reason to stop. As long as, like I said, I don't want to be a guy who's out there too long, but I don't mind being out there. If I was a 10 out of 10 and then I'm a 9 out of 10, it's still better than most of the 7s. So, but right now I still feel I'm working just as much as ever. I'm smarter, very much more wheels turning and having ideas, and so no plans as of yet.
That's good. I mean, hell, the way you're performing right now, I think we can.
Thanks, man. It's like a real late career. If I was the Chris Jericho band, and I mean the last few years I've had some of my biggest hits of my career with The List and Stupid Idiot and It, and now with a little bit of the Bubbly and the Painmaker thing, and there's so much stuff going on. Like I said, like people say, You know, Chris Jericho got a clipboard over. Well, last night I could have got a wiener over.
100%.
You talked about the yacht experience. That's in January 2020. Where is our invite?
The cruise, yeah.
Where's our invite?
Must have got lost in the
Okay, I'm
email.
gonna check my spam folder.
Yeah,
Seriously.
And
Put up
it's
my-
like
put an
a
extra R in your name or something.
probably.
Mistake.
There's like a mustache at the end of it. So I've got a question then. With that yacht, like how did you get all these people together? You've got like Gabriel Iglesias as your cruise director.
Fluffy,
You've got Vicky. I love Fluffy.
Yeah, he's great.
You got Vicky. You've got oh my God, you literally have like
Everybody,
everybody
Ric Flair,
on there. Like
Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and then we've got, you know, like the Taurus, Jared James Nichols, Fozzy, we got Brad Williams was on it, Fluffy. I mean, basically how it is we did the Kiss cruise. They invited Fozzy into the Kiss cruise, and Kiss has been doing cruises for, I think, their 10th year. And when we did it, I was like, there's such a society here of people who are destination vacation every year, because it's like summer camp. They want to go back each year. But point being, it's like, what would Chris Jericho want to do if he was on a cruise? And once again, have this great following of friends of Jericho that appreciate what I do and are into it. So how did I get the talent? I don't have a lot of money. It's a certain amount of a budget that I'm paying. And last year we had a lot of people that came on basically because they just wanted to be a part of the experience. Yeah. Everyone made money except for me. I lost a shitload, which is fine, because mine wasn't just an idea of 1 year. I wanted a long-term destination vacation. And if nothing else, I'll always be there. Fozzy will always be there. I'll always have a great company. Last year it was Ring of Honor. This year it's AEW. As long as we have that, I think we can put together the rest, and people know it's going to be a lot of fun. So
like a sexy love boat.
It's a sexy love boat. Yeah, it's very sexy.
We've got AEW and beginning and ending with you basically getting one up on Cody Rhodes, who will be your opponent at
Full Gear.
At Full Gear in November.
On my birthday.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Happy early birthday.
Thanks, man.
How psyched are you to get, like, I can't wait for the back and forth between you two. Like, how psyched are you to have that be like your first real thing that's going to be back and forth on TV?
I mean, I think it's a great place to start. I think at this point in time, people are so excited about AEW, and Cody in a lot of ways is one of the kind of the mouthpiece. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of people ipso facto give Cody, you know, the credit for it and give him the props for it. So he's the top baby face on the show, the top good guy on the show. And every good guy needs a bad guy, right? And vice versa. So I think it's a great place to start. I've known Cody for, gosh, 15 years. I remember I took him, we were in Japan, I took him and a couple other guys out to dinner one time, because that's what the vets do for the young guys. Mm-hmm. And I was really proud of him when he left, because he wasn't doing anything. He wasn't getting the career that he wanted, and now look where he is. So I think it's going to be a great story, which is what good wrestling is a story. Mm-hmm. The matches are important, but not as important as the story. I'll sit here all day long, the connecting with the audience, getting them into what you're doing. And we had a great start last night after kind of flirting with it all summer, you know, on YouTube and stuff, which still has an audience, but not, you know, not like we had last night. So I think it's a great place to start when you have the top heel and the top babyface fighting for the top prize in the business. And he knows what he's doing. He's, you know, he's Dusty Rhodes' son, and in all aspects of it. So he's a great talker, he's a great schmoozer, he's super fake if he needs to be, he's a manipulator if he needs to be. And I know that, because I knew his dad too. So I'm in a perfect place to tell a great story. And I think people are gonna be very excited about what we have in mind and what's gonna happen once again organically.
Well, Chris, thank you for coming through. Greatly appreciate you taking the time out. Again, it's Wednesday nights, 8 p.m., TNT, AEW Dynamite. The war's on. Thank you.
We're gonna hire Jimmy Walker. Dynamite!
We're out.
All
Peace.
Right.